Hello, this is Siren ASMR, and for today's video, I wanted to give you a walkthrough tour of my unkempt garden. It was raining outside, and it is just the perfect day for ASMR. When it rains, that's the best. This is my peace lily. My daughter even texted me today and said, "Mom, it's perfect day for ASMR. I want to do an ASMR video." And I'm like, I know. So she's going to make an ASMR video too. And her channel is Rainy Angel Hip Hop. This is my peace lily. This is out by my front door. I originally bought this to put indoors. I was making like a little yoga area for myself. I got a mirror, I got rugs, and I thought this would look really nice next to the mirror, and it did. But there was not enough sunlight in my house. So it stopped growing flowers. You need sunlight to grow flowers. Even if the plant sustained, it wouldn't grow any flowers if there wasn't enough sunlight. So, and then the leaves started going brown. So I brought it outdoors where it belongs. There's not enough light in my house for any plants. And now it's growing beautiful flowers, lilies, and new green leaves. This is my daughter's pine cone that she picked up on one of our walks. See, my outside garden, as you will see, needs some spring cleaning. It's time to tend to my garden. The weather is beautiful. This is an areca palm that is also out front of my front door. And it actually looks pretty good to have these two large potted plants here to greet you at the front door. I love areca palms because they're beautiful and they make great privacy trees. And I was thinking of putting it out there to have some privacy from the sidewalk. This is a sunrose. So I had this sunrose along with this wild orchid planted in here. But it was just temporary. It wasn't the proper planter for these plants. This is a succulent. This doesn't need a lot of water. This is an orchid, and it does need a lot of water. This is a wild orchid. It will grow these beautiful orange flowers, and it really doesn't need much care as long as it's potted in the proper soil and pot and gets water. So it gets rained on, it gets sprayed, and then I also water the wild orchid every day. This sunrose does not need a lot of water, so I punched holes in the bottom of this flower pot as to where this basin, this metal basin, did not have holes on the bottom. So it's not good for a succulent. My aloe plants. My aloe plant was planted from a baby and it is thriving. I do not water it. I only let the rain spray it. It does not get a lot of water. I only water it a tiny bit. And it just bloomed, but I'm sorry I missed the flower. I missed videoing the flower. So I use this, as you can see. I will cut this and use it on sunburns or skin rashes. That's why I'm growing this aloe, to use on our skin. This is a bromeliad. It grows like crazy and it's very prickly. I do not water this at all. It gets plenty of water from the rain. The water is held in these pockets, and it is in a broken terracotta pot, so if it gets too much water it will dry out quickly, which is good, and it'll hold water in these leaves. So I don't touch this and it is thriving. These grow beautiful fuchsia flowers that last a very long time. This is another sunrose that I planted here in the community ashtray. And this is growing very nicely in a terracotta pot. These are another form of aloe. I don't know what kind it is, but these grow orange flowers, and this is not the aloe to use on your skin. The other aloe I showed you, the aloe vera, is what you use on your skin, and that is another bromeliad. These are, oh, I forgot what these are called. Wandering Jews, perhaps? I think these are called wandering Jews. They grow like crazy. This is my favorite bromeliad. This grows a very long stalk of purple flowers out of the center. I don't know what kind of bromeliad this is called, but this is very sharp. I need to move this because people walk by this, and it has grown quite large. This, I think, is called a sun bromeliad or a coral bromeliad. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's bright coral with purple flowers, and it needs full sun. My plumeria tree. This is growing beautifully. Green leaves. This is another one I don't touch. I just let the rain take care of this tree and keep it in a terracotta pot to dry out in between rains. Another bromeliad. This grows smaller purple flowers in the center. And my precious plumeria blooms. My precious plumeria blooms. These give off a very strong floral scent. It's so beautiful. It makes perfume, and I save my blooms to make perfume. These are my mostly neglected orchids. I had these in the bathroom and they were doing so well. They were thriving. All of them were bright green and lush, but then they started to do bad in the bathroom because there's not a lot of light in my bathroom. They were doing great with the humidity, but then started to do bad because there wasn't enough light. So they almost died, but I saved them just in time. They're all still alive, and I put them outside where they have humidity and light. So these are going to be coming back to life. This is one of my succulents, and I forgot what these are called. These are one of the most common succulents, one of them. And I barely touch this. I just give it a tiny bit of water a few times a week, and it's growing like wild. This is my sad little bonsai tree that my son-in-law got me for Christmas. And the guy said it didn't need a lot of light, so we had it inside. But it turns out I think it does need light because it's not doing well inside. So another plant that I put outside. And so far, hanging in there. Good chunk of it died, but hopefully it's still gonna make it. I can't tell at this point. This is just a couple of plants. This is, I believe it's called dragon's tongue, or this is a succulent vine. Anyway, I put these in here, and I didn't plan on potting them. I just threw them in there just to hold them in there, and they just started rooting, so I left them. This I fill this with water. Whenever I'm out here watering the plants, I fill this with water. And this is kind of like a little pond for the lizards and the snails, and maybe the birds can even take a drink. It's kind of like a little mini critter bath. And this is my brand new jade plant. I want this to grow pretty big. These grow pretty easy as long as they don't get too much water, and so that's why I have it in a terracotta pot, and it's also gets splashed by the rain. And this is a pumpkin that my landlord put on my doorstep for the kids during Halloween, and that was like 6 months ago, more, and this is still, it looks like it's starting to die out now, to rot, but 6 months sitting outside and it didn't rot. This is a bromeliad. They grow these big pink flowers, and these like shade. This piece is growing a baby. Another, I think this is called mini jade. This is some form of calancho. You just lay the leaves down. You don't even plant them. You just lay the leaves on the dirt, and then it'll grow. Another bromeliad. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. This is, I don't know what this is called. Somebody gave this to me, and it was a tiny leaf, and then it started growing, and this grows flowers at night. So I'm waiting for this to bloom. All of this grew out. All of this whole thing grew out since I've had it. This nice, big, healthy leaf. This is my favorite little terracotta frog. This was actually my sister's at one time. It came out of one of her plants. So I don't want this to get lost, so I'm going to put it up high. Put it up here. These are wild vincas that are just growing from seed out of the ground here. Starting to grow onto the sidewalk, so I'm going to have to clean this up, trim it, transplant it, prop it up. Here's some wild aloe. This is my winter wreath on the door. I made this with the kids. It's been out here for several months and it's falling apart. I need to make a new spring wreath now. This is my vinca that has been sitting outside my bedroom window. And this got dried out. So I put this needs a lot of water, so I put this in a self-watering plastic plant potter. And it is growing back. And this is a plumeria. It's propped up with a conch shell. And this cannot get a lot of water, so it's in a terracotta pot. And this will take several months to root and sprout new leaves. It's just barely in there right now. This is a cactus, a pear cactus. I found on the side of the road a few pieces of these pear cactus. And what you do is you just lay one of the leaves on top of the dirt. And look at all the new sprouted leaves that has grown only in the last few weeks. And these grow beautiful. Here's one of them. These grow beautiful like pear fruits or cactus pears. And this is just a tiny dud. But they grow like these huge fruits. And I was hoping on feeding my bunnies with them. Here's another plumeria. This I planted last year, and it took this long to sprout roots and leaves, and now it's growing. So it was much shorter. It was just here when I planted it in the dirt. See, I have the rocks around to prop it up. So it was this short, so it grew this stalk and these leaves. And now it's going to start growing much faster. These don't grow very fast. And these are the plumerias that grow those beautiful fake fragrant flowers. And here is a baby aloe that I planted. I just stuck it in the dirt and it's already sprouting a new leaf right here. These are all of my dead herbs from last year. These are chives, garlic chives, and these actually withstood the entire winter and now are regrowing. Do you see, little snail? And the oregano did not survive the winter. I have a couple of clover. I have clover growing here. The triangle purple clover, the green clovers. And those are for the bunnies. When they grow full and they grow in, I chop them up and give them to the bunnies. The spearmint did not survive the winter. These are my papaya trees that actually just grew from seed. I did not even plant them here. I just threw some seeds out and crossed my fingers, and wow, it's really I just don't do anything to these. They just grow on their own with no care. And there's my rose bush that is regrowing from winter. It's growing all these beautiful new leaves. And this is what I make some of my products out of, my rose petals from my bush. My beautiful neglected begonia never stops blooming. A little bit in the winter, but this thing I don't even take care of it, and now it's coming back from the winter. And this gets to be beautiful and full. I'm going to transplant this in a beautiful pot. This is a purple lily that is growing. I don't care for this at all. It grows wild, and then I just chop the leaves off periodically and feed the bunnies. The bunnies love to eat this lily. And here's another sunrose. And that is all for my unkempt garden tour. I am going to be caring for these plants now that winter is over and spring is here in Florida, and look forward to an end of the season video about my garden to see the changes. Thank you for watching. Sweet dreams. See Siren ASMR.